historic building in Flint
Yeah.
that Durant had his office in when he ran General Motors. And it's been restored for many years. And across the street was a warehouse that Durant built carriages in before he built cars. About 10 years ago, GM said, and it was privately owned in Indicate, the warehouse. So GM said, we're going to buy this building and restore it. This is the birthplace of General Motors. So they asked us, Buick folks, we're a local Buick chapter of the Buick up here. They said, would you promote bringing Buicks? We do a big car show in Flint. It's called Back to the
Bricks. Yeah.
Which is everything except street daily drivers. Motorcycles, monster trucks, street routes, everything. It's been going on for about 20 years. Hell of an event. So they said, during that day, will you promote bringing Buicks back to Water Street to call the attention to the birthplace of General Motors? So we said we'd be doing that. And so I've been part of helping develop a program every year. Last summer, he was there. We featured Riatas because we try to do something different every year. We had 83 Riatas and 180 vintage Buicks.
Beautiful cars.
180. All free. Come and enjoy the day. We just kick tires and tell lies. And we have this building now that we can see 300 people with video screens and stuff. So we try to do a couple talks during the course of the day. And then you can also walk across the river and see the big show during the course of the day.
Okay. Yeah.
They have an opening ceremonies and the vintage airplanes fly over and all kinds of stuff. It's all free.
So what are y'all featuring next year in 24?
We're going to do early cars. We're going to do cars of the teens and cars of the 20s.
Really?
Oh, okay.
And so we're going to...
So is it free to put your car in the show?
Oh, it's all free.
It's all free. Yeah.
We got
Mine's too
food
new.
vendors. So Google up Buicks on the Bricks 2023, and you'll see a website we did for this last summer show. And we'll develop a website for 2024, Buicks on the Bricks. So Google it up and watch for it. It's like the third Saturday in August, a couple of weeks before Labor Day. And the Back to the Bricks thing is big.
Yeah.
There's something going on all summer. But there's one day where they do the big show and block off all downtown and everything. It's when we do Buicks on the Bricks.
Buicks on the Bricks.
There's activity going on every day. We have cruising stuff, we have local car shows and stuff. But if you're interested in those kind of cars, every year we try to do something like that. And the talks that we get, we'll have one guy, actually we have a General Motors engineer that manages that facility and also manages the General Motors Heritage Center. I don't know if you're familiar with what that is, which they're now moving to Flint.
Yeah, you said, yeah.
And so I think he or somebody is going to come and talk about the early years, Durant, early cars, and that kind of stuff. So every year we're going to try to do something different.
Do something different. Yeah.
Storage. And it's all free. So if you bring a vintage Buick, you can come in and park on Water Street. We don't have parking for daily drivers, but you can park close in the city.
Vintage, right?
You better drive your Wildcat.
Oh, bring the Wildcat.
Or at least put it on the trailer, take it to take it off.
Yeah, don't bring the car. Yeah.
Bring the limo there.
We can figure out. We'll be on the gate, so we start at 6 o'clock in the morning. And if you come in with a trailer, we'll get you a place you can park on the street or get the car out. Just come and enjoy the car.
That's a Friday or Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
And Denny was running around and helping park cars.
You said you were running the whole show.
He was running around. No, I say he was running around parking the cars. He was just...
with the program, but I let our Buick Town Club handle all the mechanics. You know, the goodie bags, the parking, all that kind of stuff. You guys go do that. I'll work on the program.
Sometimes you have to chip in.
Well, yeah,
Gotta do what you gotta
They have
do.
like history there too, where you can find out
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah.
history of your car, even way back then.
The
Like who
Sloan
originally
Museum kind of does that.
well,
Or is that hard to track down?
Sloan Museum also, which is a cultural center. It's got a library in it, and it will help you if you call them. They have a lot of reference material. They don't have everything you might want. They have some years are better than others, what they have. But what they have, they'll be glad to pull out one copies of it, or you can go there and make an appointment, and they'll pull the books out, and you can thumb through looking for stuff. Now, the GM Heritage Center, which is in the process of moving out of Detroit up to Clinton, in a really nice facility. It's going to be really nice when they get it done. It has a library also, but I'm not sure how you access that. I haven't pursued that. But they've got library information.
And that's supposed to be on the campus where the Sloan is now?
No. It's on the east side of Flint, right off of the I-475 freeway. Are you familiar with Flint?
A little bit, yeah.
You know where Hill Road is?
I believe so. It runs east and west, right?
475 goes kind of through the middle of the town.
Yeah.
Compared to I-475 that's going around the west side of Flint.
Yeah.
Well, on this bypass, that freeway that goes through Flint, about probably a third of the way into Flint is a crossroad called Hill Road.
East and west.
East and west.
Okay, yeah. I thought
And
that-
just east of that, you go over the freeway, and there's an Applebee's and some other restaurant. And there's a asphalt road that goes to the back. There's 30 acres in a 3-story building that GM built about 25 years ago and had in it 900 employees handling service parts and customer service stuff. And they moved those people out, and it's vacant. So they're in it's huge. It's got a pond. They just did the 90th year of Corvettes there in the parking lot. And they had 500 cars, and there was only half full.
Wow.
I'll tell you the size of the company. So they're renovating the building to handle the Heritage Center.
So they're moving up there.
And put an elevator in so they can use the second floor. They got to convert it from offices. I'm sure they're putting a ton of money into it. It's probably going to be a year before it's done. But it will be a plus because of the size they'll be able. General Motors has about 400 cars and trucks and race cars and engine displays and transmission plus a library. That's all coming up there.
And they'll be able to
Where they've been in Detroit, they were in like 4 buildings.
Yeah,
You
warehouse.
could never see it all.
It's going to be like a museum.
It's going to be a plus, but they've got everything. It'll be really nice.
And your stuff's going to be there.
I'm working with our daughter and Greg, our son-in-law. The stuff that I'm doing here is going to end up someplace. The Heritage Center would be a good place for it in the future. I haven't talked to them because I'm not ready to do that. If I'm gone tomorrow, the kids are going to handle it for me. Because I'm still trying to accumulate parts and finish up the history, and I keep getting a little more every year. The other thing I will not be opposed to doing is putting this place somewhere else for a period of time.
It could be like some of the traveling ones, and they go to the Gilmore, they go to the Peterson.
Gilmore would be a place. I haven't talked about it yet because I'm not ready to do that. But in the meantime, I'm doing this kind of stuff so people can use the Sloan's in Flint.
Yeah, I went there. Yeah.
Did a major renovation, and it's really nice. But the thing about the Sloan, they're 90% focused on teaching kids.
Right. It's not a
So
car
10%
museum.
of it is focused on Buick
Right.
and Chevrolet, because Chevrolet had a presence in Flint also. So
I was just trying to find.
I think the Heritage Center is probably a better alternate repository for it. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it's something going in the dumpster.
One last
I
question.
got that figured out.
What was they?
These are water outlets from the cylinder head. The racer did when he raced it in this car. So this is part of the plumbing. This wasn't done in engineering.
Oh, okay.
The way we got these parts back from the racer, when he raced it back in the early 70s, I chose not to change any of that because it's part of the history.
Oh, okay.
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 They did different plumbing systems, you know, to keep the engine cool because it develops more horsepower.
All right.
The racers always do that kind of stuff.
Okay. I got you. So, and then real quick, this your baby here though, huh? This
Yeah,
got
you
the,
didn't see this at Flint.
I didn't see it. You didn't have the. You had the GS. Yeah. So wow, this one got the two 4 barrels on this. Wow, factory. Oh yeah.
The Buick brought the Riviera out in 1963, and they wanted an optional engine. We were producing 401 cubic inch engines. So we developed a 425 cubic inch engine as an option for the Riviera in 1963. And the next year in 1964, they wanted another option. So we were developing two options. One was I was developing the twin 4-barrel for the 425 optional 360 horsepower engine. And another engineer was developing a turbocharged 401.
Hold on, now you saying they made a. Did they ever do a turbocharge?
No, single turbocharged.
Single.
Way back, you got to remember this.
What's the difference?
Well, because you have 1 versus 2. You got to remember this is 1960.
Are you hearing this?
62.
What's that?
He's saying they was doing a turbo back in the 60s with the
Got to
Buicks.
remember how old this is. This is 1961 and 62. And so what happened is we were developing those two programs. We went out with our senior management and our chief engineer at the General Motors Proving Ground in Milford to compare the two development programs to see what we were going to bring out for 1964. And the chief engineer got in the turbo. If you remember, the 401s would produce 445 foot-pounds of torque.
Okay.
The turbo produced 701 foot-pounds of torque. And the chief engineer got in and brake torqued the car and twisted the input shaft off on the transmission.
Really?
And the transmission guys didn't have the capability to increase the strength of the transmission, so that killed that program.
Really?
So we brought this 2 4-barrel engine out in 1964. 1965, it was a standard engine in the Riviera Grand Sport, like the black car right here.
Okay. Okay.
Standard equipment. And in 1966, which this car is, we took the option out of production because we were all busy getting ready to bring out the new engine and manufacturing.
And what was that like, the
400
430?
and the 430.
400 and
So we took
430.
it out of production, and the dealers screamed because they didn't want to buy parts. People wanted the optional engine, and they didn't want to buy carburetors, air cleaners, intake manifolds, distributors, camshaft, and changeover.
Right.
So Buick decided mid-year, March 1st, we'll build 200.
Really?
200 of them. So we got the parts, we built 200 of them. 179 went into Rivieras. This is one of them.
Okay.
21 went into Wildcat Transports.
Really?
And we've traced this one back. We think this is the first car that went down the assembly line.
Really?
The 179. We've had it 45 years. We've driven it a lot. It's pretty much a survivor. It's got a lot of original parts in it.
Wow.
But the early 400, like the one I have, Bob, you said like the last gear it hesitates. It's a different for 64. Remember what I have in my trailer that was rebuilt? But you said it's a different kind of, when you look at it was a different kind of 400. It was a 3-speed, but it's like,
Oh, the turb.
Yeah,
the
but-
first.
yeah, but the last
super
gear seems like it's
400.
hesitant versus later years they made it different.
That first transmission, that's not really, it's more like an overdrive. It's
Turbo
64.
400 you mean in 64?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird 1-year-old.
I don't remember what kind of detail.
And then they changed it. 65, then they went with the switch. 65.
Did you know they made turbos? They was doing turbos back in the 60s?
Oh, did you?
He was just talking about
We
it.
were telling them when
I didn't know who it was, man. I had to look around.
when Buick brought the Riviera out in '63, they wanted an optional engine, something to add to the car. So at that time we had the standard 401, so we developed the 425 for 1963 as the first year. It was an option in the Riviera for 1963. And then they wanted something different again for '64. I was developing the twin four-barrel 425 360 horse package engine. And we also were developing, another engineer was developing a turbo 401. And the torque output of a standard four-barrel 401 was 445 foot-pounds. The turbocharger was developing 700 foot-pounds of torque.
Did you know that? Did you know that?
John, did you know
So I
this?
have this for my daughter, and I was trying to
Did you
find
know
information.
this about the turbo they were making for the 401?
Did you really?
Yeah, I talked to him.
Oh, you talked to him before. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, they made so much power they could make a transmission.
700 foot-pounds of
But
torque.
they said only 156 were made.
Way
But I was wondering where I could find information. Like, can you find out who originally bought that back then?
GM wouldn't have that.
They wouldn't have that information.
They have to have a dealership.
Anyway, we were developing those programs.
Yeah, and they're all dead by now. The cars
Typically,
already
we'd get together with the management.
Yeah, 20 years.
Develop
For the people
we
like
were, you know, what we were going to do for '64. So one Saturday, we went out to General Motors at the Proving Ground in Milford, which is south of Flint,
That's what I'm saying.
a few miles. Went out there one Saturday morning, and the chief engineer got in the turbo car and brake torqued it, twisted the input shaft off on the transmission. 700 foot-pounds of torque. Then the transmission guy says, "How much torque you got in that engine?" And they couldn't upsize the input shaft. There wasn't the capability, either material or size, to change it, so it killed the program. So we brought out the twin program. But we still have the engine. It's on a display stand. It's a single, I think it's a single Thompson or Ray J, I don't remember, big turbos at that time. And back then we built export engines, low compression export engines that go overseas, 2 barrels. And so we took a 2-barrel base engine, made an adapter for it to the turbo. We had 2 side draft carburetors, and then we did all the plumbing, you know, to run the turbo. And we still have the engine. It's either at Sloan or the Heritage Center.
Really?
It's on display. I have pictures of it. We've survived, we kept it. So it's a mock-up engine that still demonstrates that.
It's a lot to see if you go to Flint. It's a lot to see there. A lot of history.
Yeah, and I could say it's either one place or the other.
Don't forget when you leave.
I don't remember where it is, but I have it at home. I know.
Okay.
Way over there under the light.
And I have access to it if we need it.
Yeah. Wow.
What's up, boss? Just one like you. What are you doing, man? Getting up on me.
How are you?
You talk about me touching you and you're rubbing up on my body to body. That's bullshit. Somebody
Friends down the road. Your friends down the road.
That's how my reel's gonna be.
So I ran
Doing
across
quad,
this wild
look like that.
It's the first
I got the valve car, I got everything.